Right, welcome back. Joystick settings, sensitivity. I've done a few videos on this, and every time I've done a video, I've changed my settings afterwards. So every video's got a different message, really. Shut up with that radio. Right, okay, I'll just go to my controls and I'll try and show you what I mean. But first of all, I've got a few settings. This pedal full reel is my go-to settings for most of my planes. You can have you can have as many as you want. You can have you could do a setup for every single plane you have, but I've got one for most planes. I've got one for the Spitfire and the old J7. I've got one for the Duck and I've got one for the Sabre, because the Sabre's roll rate is so insane. You have to dull down the roll rate on your joystick, because it's just too fast. But we'll start here. Right, so that's my main settings. I'm just going to concentrate on the pitch. The roll is up to you. But if a plane is too sensitive in the roll, it's hard to keep it steady, but you can adjust that as you will. So this is my go-to settings. My pitch sensitivity is at 64. It's changed. I used to have it at 8, but I never used to use non-linearity, but I'm using it now. So my pitch sensitivity is at 64. Everybody's going to have a different one. And this is the axis of my joystick. I double click that. You can see here, the red bit is your actual joystick and the green bit is what the computer is seeing. So I have got 1.6 non-linearity and a multiplier of 1, which is just standard, I think. Dead zone, I've got a little bit of dead zone. So here you can see, as I move the joystick, it delays the action a little bit. And I'll try and explain that using Microsoft Paint. Right, so as you can see with my MLG drawing skills, this is a standard joystick, and this is a replication of what's in the cockpit. So as you can see, the column on your normal joystick is not as large as the one in the cockpit. So at full deflection, you only get this much, I'm going to call it resolution. You only get this much resolution, but in a proper plane, you get so much more resolution. It's so much easier to make fine adjustments. So what non-linearity is trying to do, it's trying to make this system emulate this system. So imagine, I think you can get those little clips for your game pads, can't you? Little clip-on things that you put on your game pads, makes you more accurate, I guess. So yeah, as I said, the column the column in the fighter plane is a lot larger than the one that's on your desk. So as I said, yeah, you get more resolution. So that's what non-linearity is trying to replicate. I try to demonstrate it in the best possible way I could. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Right, I think it's probably easier to demonstrate on DCS. Basically, this is non-linearity. You just put in a curve in your axis. So if you look at the red dots, that's the joystick, and the black dot is what the computer's seeing. So it's kind of it's just slowing it down so you can get a bit more fine adjustment, really. So basically, yeah, non-linearity is just putting an S curve, really. So let's get back to thingy. Right, so I hope that's a bit clearer. Right, so this is what basically this is what I've got for most of my planes. Non-linearity is 1.6. Dead zone, I've got an old joystick, so I've got a bit of a dead zone. Multiplier 1, correction 0. If I get out of there. And pitch sensitivity 64. As I said, that's my standard one, and then obviously you can just fine tune it to your liking. But as I said, there are certain planes that just do not like it. for example, let's go in the Spitfire. I'll load up the Spitfire one. Now see, I've still got pitch sensitivity at 64, but the non-linearity is now 2. So we'll go in the Spitfire. Alright, I'm in the Mark 9C. Why not? So as you can see, this has got a large column as well. They have changed the fly model of this. I don't think it's incorrect. I just don't think it's compatible with desktop mounted joysticks, because in real life it was a really sensitive plane, so you need to do those really tiny movements, and I said before, without a proper length stick it's really difficult. So let's try and take off. I'll put the elevator down a bit because it is floaty. Let's try and take off. So yeah, I think the flight model is fairly accurate. Well, fairly accurate for War Thunder. But because it's such a sensitive plane, you need to do fine movements, and it's really difficult to do that with a desktop mounted joystick. I mean, you can buy joysticks that have the long column on them, but they are expensive. So yeah, this is one of the planes where I've got a separate setting for it. As you can see, I'm just moving the joystick slightly, and it's moving around. If I go back to the other settings, what I'll do, I'll go and try and shoot that vehicle. If I can find it. Where is it? There's a vehicle here. I'll try and aim for this vehicle, which is not going to be easy. Oh, there we go. And so this is the setting that I have for the Spitfire, but if I put it back on the other one, no small caliber guns. Oh, it's cannons, isn't it? You can see it pushes the nose down when you shoot. I think I've got this as good as I can get it, but if I put it back to the normal setting. For the duck, I've got one for the duck because you need to use a slider for the zoom. It's not really important. Right, so let's go to the normal one, the normal setting that I have for every other plane. And you can see it's a bit more wobbly because I haven't got that sensitivity or the resolution. Let's try and aim for the thing again. I don't think I'll be able to do it, but we'll try. I can't even see it. See, I'm wobbling about a lot more now. I can hit it, but you can see it's a bit wobblier, and you tend to pull a bit too much. And that's why it feels so flirty, because you haven't got control of it. There we go. Well, it's not too bad, but so yeah, that's what I have. Yeah, so for the Spitfire, I bumped it up to 2. As opposed to 1.6. Continue anyway. Alright, let's have a look at the Sabre. Right. Jagose, thank you. Right, so I've only got the Japanese Sabre. As you can see, the roll rate is just ridiculous in the Sabre. So what I found is, if I'm trying to pull a pursuit on a plane and he's changing directions, I end up doing this too much, because I'm going too well. I'm just going too fast in the roll. So as I said, I can't really show you a plane because there's not one here. So if I'm following a plane and he changes direction, I tend to go too fast, and I end up doing this. So what I did, just for the Sabre, this is this one, isn't it? What I did was I left everything as it was before on the standard one, but the roll axis I put non-linearity up to 2. So get back. So that it's a lot easier. It's a lot smoother on the roll. But if I wanted to roll fast, I would just go to the, you can just go to the side as if you want. But it just smooths out the roll. You can make a lot better adjustments. That's what I did with the Sabre. It's a lot easier. But you can it still goes to the maximum if you push it to the maximum. So yeah, I found that a lot easier. Because you don't want to be doing that all the time. You find you do that in the Focke-Wulfs as well, but it's not quite as severe. Alright, it is a nice plane. Alright, so let's just recap of what I've done, and if you want to copy them, it's up to you. Controls. So I've got one for the majority. As I said before, you can have as many as you want, can't you? You can have a save set up for each individual plane. I just don't have the patience to do that. So I said I've got one for the Spitfire, I've got one for the Sabre, and one for the normal one. So if I just load that up, I said you can just you can copy that and then just adjust it to your liking if you want. And then the pitch. I think the roll is just normal on the normal one. Get out of there. Right, so yeah, 1.6 for the standard setting, and then 2 for the Spitfire. There is one more thing that I do sometimes with the... Oh, get off me, get off. With the P51 Mustang, I've tried every setting possible, but it still wobbles up and down. So the thing I do for the Mustang, if I fly that, I turn everything to 100, and I turn non-linearity off, and it seems to behave itself a bit better. But the Mustang's a separate beast altogether. The H isn't too bad, but the other ones, they just wobble up and down all the time. So yeah, that's what I do. It's no secret. There's no secret settings to do. You just got to fiddle around with it until you've got it something where you can play properly. But yeah, that's all I do really. So that's all I can say. That's all I can say. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you later, maybe. Sorry.